France has upped the ante in the race to militarise space with the creation of a space command aimed at protecting French satellites from 2030. Defence Minister Florence Parly insisted that France was not being sucked into an arms race and that the initiative was central to a strategy to bolster defensive rather than offensive capabilities. Well, earlier I spoke to our very own space science and technology correspondent Jeremy Wilkes, and I asked him if this, well, really is the start of space wars.
We aren't going to see space wars, hopefully, in the next couple of years, but they are taking this very seriously. The President announced that they're going to change the Air Force into the Air and Space Force, and we've got a few more details on that today from the Minister. And basically, as she came in very strongly at the beginning of her speech, talking about how France was a historic space power and how they wanted to carry on taking advantage of space, you know, the telecommunications and things that we all have now, but also saying that there were genuine threats. And she actually cited an incident from September last year where the French government says that a Russian satellite actually tried to spy on a French satellite. And then afterwards I actually put a question to her and said, actually, are you scared of the Russians?
We're not afraid of anyone. We consider, because we've seen it, that space is becoming a potential place of conflict. The strategic review that made it possible to prepare our military programming has identified it very well. And so when we identify a threat, our responsibility is to define the means to counter it.
Right, so the French Defence Minister talking there about responsibility, but what does that mean in concrete terms? What do these weapons in space look like?
It's an interesting set of technologies that they're talking about. One of the most eye-catching is using nanosatellites, very small satellites about this big, that will fly alongside the other military satellites and will actually be able to look out for other satellites from people who may be wanting to threaten the French in some way, look out for them, first off, and then she talked about using lasers which would fire at them and actually block them. I mean, that sounds real like Star Wars kind of technology, but that's what they're talking about, doing that as of 2023. They say the technology is ready to do that. They're going to build new radar systems on the ground as well, and that's actually because the systems they've got were great, but they were built for big satellites, and satellites have changed in terms of the materials they're made from, and they've also got a lot smaller, and so they need new, much more powerful devices. And she said that they want to have a radar system which is capable of spotting the satellite the size of a shoebox at a distance of 1,500 kilometers. So those are the kind of things actually in space, also equipping satellites with cameras as well. And then on the ground, obviously integrating all of the Air Force abilities together with a new space center in Toulouse, and basically building all of those human capacities that they already have. So a lot of enthusiasm there for some of the technologies and also the manpower. And she also talked about changing the laws, the regulations, allowing, for example, the military to take control of satellites in emergency situations if they needed to.